streets are much safer. They went and got baby oil, 200 bottles of baby oil, 900 bottles of Astroglide off the streets, out of his garage. Do you
Hmm.
use sarcasm like that when you are in the trial?
Man, sometimes I do because I want to lighten it up a little bit. You don't want to seem like you're uptight. You almost want to make it seem like, hey, man, it's almost comical that they went this far. And I think that's what they were trying to do. I see my man Uda agreeing with me. And that's the truth, man. I mean, yeah, he got the baby oil in his hands. I'm telling, look, man, look, Puffy got me so scared, man. I needed some baby oil to moisturize that. I didn't want to go in the store and buy some by myself because I was like, man, he made baby oil persona non grata. So, but it's funny because you want to actually appear, you want to appear that, hey, not only do they not have a serious enough case, it's almost laughable. So sometimes you're kind of exuding a little confidence when you do that.
Oh, okay, I see. So let me ask you this. Let's take a quick pause here. Your colleagues in the courts after this trial has been almost a week now. What are they saying? Are they shocked about the outcome of this case?
A lot of them are not shocked, man. They're saying to themselves, hey, we understand Puffy has done some things, but at the same time, this is went a little too far. They went too far with this RICO, and I think that's what a lot of people are doing. And I know we, of course, we got our people in the chat. We're gonna bring up at about 75 minutes into the into our show today, and we're gonna talk to them, our usual group of folks, and we're gonna get some opinions. I know my man Uda's waiting for us, and he's gonna give us his opinion. And of course, we have got a couple of ladies coming on, and Mel, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say this to you. We were having a conversation yesterday, right? And I was telling you that I'm a part of a project called "He Never Came Home," right? And the
Right.
director of that movie has won. A.L. Smith has won a American Black Film Festival award for another project called Dana Story, right? And Dana Story is actually about human trafficking. So I had a conversation with A.L. Smith, and we're gonna bring her on eventually. We're gonna get her on our podcast, and she actually has a movie about human trafficking. And her opinion was, and we're gonna get her on the screen eventually, maybe not today, but another one of our shows. Her opinion was, man, this ain't what Puffy did is not human trafficking. The movie that I did and the research I did, where I had a 12-year-old being sold to a grown man on a repeated basis, that's trafficking. Didn't have the ability to have a phone, was not let out of the people's sight, was not let around the regular, normal, general public for too long because the mother knew and the person knew and the people knew what they were doing were wrong. That's trafficking. And so I think one of the things that we got to talk about, and it's going to be heavy on our heads, is when you look at actual trafficking victims, and I'm going to say this, and there's nothing against Cassie, it's nothing against Jane Doe or anybody else. Man, there are some serious people that have been involved in human trafficking where you got kids and you got adults that don't have any power. They don't have any cell phones.
Mm.
They get separated from their families. In this situation, Cassie could go away for 2 or 3 months, come back. She had the freedom to call and talk to her parents. She went and got married. I tell you, a pimp ain't gonna let you go. A real pimp, you're not going to marry nobody else. A real human trafficking a ringleader, you ain't gonna go marry nobody else, and you're gonna go make him some money. And so, one of the things that we got to talk about, we be real about, man, we also have to protect the integrity of the actual trafficking statute and the actual victims of real trafficking by not calling this trafficking.
I noticed that when it came to the charges, the two charges they gave him, it seems so close to sex trafficking, transporting for the use of prostitution, something to that effect. How can you charge one and not the other, and vice versa?
You can charge one and not the other for vice versa. Number one, I think that they had additional witnesses who, to be honest with you, were involved in some of the same behavior. So how am I going to charged Puffy with prostitution, where I got the actual prostitute as the witness. I made a deal with them, and even that particular person basically said, well, I wanted to participate, and there was 5 freak offs. I wanted to participate in freak off 1 and 2. I didn't want to do freak off 3, but I wanted to do 4 and 5. What is the average person on a jury going to say? So you mean to tell me you participated in 5 freak offs, 1 and 2, 4 and 5, but you said 3 was not consensual. Now tell me, are you going to believe that? Is that going to be reasonable doubt? And so that's why they didn't bring the additional charges, because even them charges within themselves, it was an issue. So, like I said, we're going to talk about this. We definitely going to get some opinions from our back chat. We got our man Ooter here, and I said we're going to bring him on in a little bit actually about Ooter. We're going to bring you back actually at about it's 57 of the hour now. We're going to bring you in at about 18 minutes, and I want you to think about what I want you to tell us, just as a regular person, man. What did you think about the charges? And we're going to find some of the ladies and get some opinions from them to talk about this trafficking issue. So we're going to bring you in about 17 minutes to talk about that. I'm going to let Mel hit me up with a few more questions. We're going to have you leave the screen for now. Please pop back on in exactly 15 minutes, because I want you to tell us what you think, because in our podcast, we want to know what regular folks think. This ain't just about us, because as a lawyer, sometimes I can get tied into the legality of it. A male seeing the trial every day and seeing what the state's putting out there. Sometimes we got to get caught in to watching those things. So we're going to bring some of the people in the back chat a little later, and we're going to talk about that. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I have a very technical question for you that I've been wondering about.
Yes.
They had 2 charges of sex trafficking, one for Cassie, one for Jane Doe.
Mm-hmm.
But under the RICO, they had sex trafficking too. But let me tell you this. Under the RICO, when they showed sex trafficking, they showed 27 pictures of different sex workers. So was that sex trafficking under the RICO strictly for the sex workers?
And that's what they're trying to show, man. They're trying to show that that's what was happening. And they're trying to, and what they're trying to do, to me, they're trying to influence the jury, because you got to make it seem like, and you have to understand, optics are always important, right? Everybody, optics are important. So you want to make it seem like, hey man, he's bringing all these people in. He got when you think of traffic, if I say I'm in traffic, you don't see me on the road with one car and maybe one other car, right? No. When I say I'm in traffic, you thinking about 10 cars, 20 cars, 30 cars. And so they're trying to make it seem like it's a lot of cars in this freeway of sex. And so that's what they're trying to do. Like the state and the prosecutors, they really think about what they're doing. Like they got all day and they got all their power. And they trying to make it seem like it was a traffic jam getting people in and out of here. So think about that.
What about as far as them losing this case that you could tell by the news? I'm pretty sure you followed. It's like a travesty that the prosecutors lost this case. Do you think that they'll hold off on pulling another RICO stunt on another rapper or a ball player?
I think that they will, man, because I think the public, man, the public is not down with finding people guilty of trafficking of this kind of behavior. I mean, let's be honest. Do I think that some of the stuff that Mr. Combs was doing was freaky? Yeah. And was he trying to hide some of the fact that he was doing some freaky stuff? Yeah. Was he trying to hide criminal activity? When I say criminal activity in the situation with Cassie, yeah, probably, because you had no business doing that to her. But was he trying to hide the activity for criminal purposes? Or was he trying to hide the activity because he was embarrassed? Right? Let's have a real conversation. If I'm Puffy Combs and I'm in a male-dominated hip-hop, testosterone, it's all for the straight people for the most part. I'm a gangster. I got to make sure I look like a gangster. If I'm in a bisexual, multisexual freak-off, does that make me look strong or does that make me look weak?
Definitely weak, yeah.
So is he doing it to hide crimes? Nah. He's doing it to hide the embarrassment and the whispers. Now, remember, you got this happening and you got people like 50 Cent out there. Now, we already know 50 is petty. When 50's out here doing interviews about a puppy said they're going to take me shopping, I start to punch him in the face. Somebody take me shopping? Somebody tell you they're going to take you shopping, you're a grown man, you punch him in the face. And so I want you to think about that, right? So he's saying what? Hey, man, you can't say nothing like that. I'm a man. You know what I mean? So Puffy already has that little stuff out there. He don't want that to get out. That's why he's doing a lot of this. He don't want people to know about the freak offs. It's not that he is hiding it because it's criminal. He's hiding it because it's embarrassment. And see, what I think the state don't think about is there are a lot of people out here, regular folk, hire some of the freaky stuff they do in their own bedrooms they don't want other people to know about. And I think that's what the government, I don't think they really thought about. I'm just keeping it 100.
So for the 2 charges that he's holding the bag for, does that mean that guys are now going to be under more scrutiny for flying girls to Vegas for a nice weekend and maybe give them a few dollars or pay their rent?
Hey man, we've been talking about this in the community, and we gotta have a real conversation, right? And everybody, and that's why I said when in the back chat, when we bring people on in hour 2, we're gonna have a real conversation about this type of behavior. Flying people out, paying people's bills, and some of these women actually expecting, well, if you fly me out, I expect you to do A, B, and C. And guys gonna be looking at that. Now, wait a minute, man. She said, man, they might do me like the dead Puffy. I can't do you. Like, we can't do it. And see, that's the thing of the way the internet has caused a lot of problems. I don't just call it the internet. I call it the interconnect. That damn interconnect, right? When I say the interconnect, man, in the past, man, you were limited to the women that you could actually run into. You know what I mean? Some of the best relationships I had, man, I met the girl on the city bus, man. I'm just keeping it 100. You know, it was like a Tyrese situation, right? But one of the best relationships I had, man, one of my best homegirls. And one of the girls I dated, man, we met on the city bus, man. And it was just a look. You see them, they look you back, look back, and you know, you do your thing. The interconnect has killed all that, man. You can go online, you can jump into somebody's DMs. They got these services. You can be in Timbuktu and somebody could be in Compton, and because y'all like each other, y'all flying to see each other. You know what I'm saying? So the internet has changed a lot of things. So flying out, people are also kind of worried about that because they're like, man, look, let's say I'm a man of means, right? And I meet somebody that lives in California, I'm in New York, man. We vibing. I like what she's doing. She's professional, I'm professional, but you know, she got a little money problems and I got it. And you know, I've checked her out. I like her. I'm gonna help her out, but I want to see her. So, hey, come on. I got you. Don't worry about that. Well, baby, I can't come out there. I got to work. I pay my rent. Y'all. I can't come see you for a week. Don't worry about that. I got you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now people looking at that differently. People looking at it like, nah, I don't want to do that. If I do that, what? I'm out trafficking? And then you have these situations where people are getting flew out, and then when they don't put out, guys don't even want to fly them back. And so the expectations, because of the interconnect or the internet and social media and all these services that people use to meet each other, man, it's changed. But we got to be careful. We have to adjust as men and women dealing in this space now, because you could get charged with something just because you flew somebody out.
Jane Doe is very unique. She came into court and she basically said she was ordering some of these male escorts or what have you, and she was okay with the freak off, sometimes up at 3 a night. But when she went on the Instagram and saw Diddy with Young Miami and that Rolls Royce, she would often change her mind. Talk about that when women change their mind.
And see, that's the issue that I got too as well, man. And let's have a real conversation. And I know this is gonna be one of the first questions I ask Udo when he comes on, man. we need to have a real conversation about Me Too, and is it really Me Too? And we got to have that conversation, because there is an attitude of believe all women when they make an allegation. And this is not to discourage or disparage our sisters, but there are sisters out there. There are people that are opportunists, right? Right? I know Nipsey Hussle said, I hope your opportunity survives your opportunist. And when I say that is, sometimes people will kill your opportunity because they're opportunists. Look at what's happening to Shannon Sharp. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with him, but man, as soon as that $100 million contract talk came up, that lady sued him and said, look, you don't give me some money right now, I'm going to come out with this lawsuit. Maybe you don't get that 100 million. And so people got to start thinking about those types of things, man. And then, do you really get your name back when somebody falsely accuses you of doing something? Right? Right?
Right.
Do you get your name back?
No, I don't think so.
No, man. So I remember, man, and I won't bring up any names, man. There was a pastor here in Dallas who I know very well, who I trust. He got accused of some stuff, but there wasn't some really strong, concrete evidence of it. But man, I watched people run away from him, man, as soon as the allegations came out. And I was like, man, I said, man, I think they went after him because he wasn't, he wasn't with the Me Too, and he wasn't with the LGBTQ community on certain things. I think they went after him because of that. I'm just being real with you. And nothing against my people that are in the LGBTQ community. I just feel like, certain times, man, when you don't capitulate, they're going to make you bow down. And that's how some people feel out here. And so as men, especially as straight Black men, we got to be careful out here, man. Nobody's advocating for us, the normal guy, the regular guy who want to raise his family, raise his daughter, and just nobody's advocating for the regular guy. And so if you say something, people going to call you homophobic. And look, I got friends that are part of the LGBT community. I don't judge them. I want them to live the life that they want to live, and I'm not going to say anything about them. I'm not going to discriminate against them. But I'm going to be real with you. Sometimes just being a normal, regular person, man, can have consequences. And we need to talk about those things as men. And we need to talk about how the optics of that even affected this case. Because I'm going to be real with you. Puffy was doing a lot of this because he wanted to hide that behavior. Right? Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the truth.
So let's say he won across the board and he was not guilty on all accounts. And let's say this case cost him 10 million between all the attorneys. Would there be any recourse in going after the government if they basically wasted his time and he was found not guilty?
He could go after the government, but the problem with Puffy is Puffy know he got some more skeletons in his closets that they probably didn't even find. So I want you to think about this. When you go after the government like that, you open your own closet. And I think in this situation, there's not really much you can do. They're going to be able to say that they justify going after him because they had A, B, C, D, and E. And you have to show some kind of gross negligence to be able to get that money back. And so I don't think they're going to be able to show that. In addition to that, somebody like Puffy, man, we know now. We keep it at 100, right? We know he's probably been involved in some behavior that is not above board. And so for somebody like him, recourse is not really good to go after. And then even if you're going to go after the government, you still have to spend money to go after them. And the average person don't have money to fight the government. And that's the interesting part about this federal trial. You don't get a lot of federal trials because the government basically has unlimited resources. And even if you're a regular businessman, a lot of times, man, let's say they're going after me for a RICO, man, they frozen my money. Typically, I got my money by doing what? The behavior that they accused me of. So now I don't even have access to the money to be able to defend myself. But Puffy had enough on his private business that he made before any of this happened that he had the ability to be able to fight the government. And most of the time, we don't have the ability to do that.
Wow. So Cassie sued her for 30 million. She got 20 in 24 hours and still took the stand. Can he get any of that money back?
No, because you can do an NDA, but if the government subpoenas you to testify, you have to do that, because even in those NDAs, if you're subpoenaed by a governmental agency, you have to tell the truth, because you don't have to put yourself at risk to maintain an NDA, and that's what you would be doing.
Okay. Hey guys, I'd like to ask everybody to please hit the like button, share, subscribe if you like the material. It's a privilege to have a criminal defense attorney in the building. Every week we do this between 2 and 4, bringing you guys some solid information. Calvin, can you tell, it's a lot of people in the building, can you tell them how to find you and who you are?
My name's Attorney Calvin D. Johnson. I'm going to go back in my history a little bit for those who are just tuning in. I have been a practicing attorney for the last 24 years, almost 25 years. I'm going to go do my history and basically backwards. I've been having my own law firm for the last 24 years. I've been doing criminal defense, state, local, and federal criminal defense for the last 24 years. I used to work for the Chris Bosh Foundation, and I was his attorney at the NBA draft. I've also dealt with a lot of hip hop artists locally in Dallas. Seven the Great is one of my clients, and one of my close friends is Picasso Verbadelic. Y'all can check those guys out at their YouTube pages or their Instagram pages. But what I'll tell you is, I've been doing this for almost a quarter century. I have a law degree from St. Mary's University School of Law in San Antonio, Texas. I'm licensed in the federal courts. I'm licensed in the state of Texas. I have a bachelor's of science, a double major in history and political science. And I graduated from the High School for Public Services, Government and Law in the year of 1990. So that ought to tell you that I have been involved in the law, either as a lawyer or some kind of assistant or going to school ever since 1990. And so we're basically in 2025, almost 35 years I've been involved in the law, almost 25 years as an attorney. So that's a lot of years in terms of being around attorneys, and 25 years practicing criminal defense. And that's why Mel has me on this podcast. And that's why I'm able to say what I'm saying. We've had a lot of chatter about, well, who's he? And isn't he in Texas? Well, Texas is part of the United States, Mel, last time I checked, right? And if you're a licensed attorney in Texas and you're licensed in the federal court, then you're a federal lawyer. And Puppy is not charged with a New York crime. He's charged with a what?
Federal.
So I can do federal criminal defense all over the country. Once I'm admitted to one court, all I got to do is find an attorney. I go in with them. I can set with them in the other states and the other jurisdictions. And that's how we can do it. And I try to tell people, I've been doing this a long time. My website is theywon'tletmeout.com. I can be reached at 214-565-5600. And I can be reached by email at attorneycalvindjohnson@gmail.com. So any of y'all, especially in the Texas area, state, federal, local criminal defense, I can take your cases on. And I know people all over the country. I got some folks out in the Carolinas. I got some people in New York I know. I got some people up in Wisconsin that I know. Some lawyers out in Vegas and in Los Angeles, California. I know some people in Florida. I know that practice law. People in Oklahoma, people in Louisiana. So I know folks all over the country just because I've been moving around.
So wait a minute, Uta. So we're at 1:06 on the hour, and I know we said we wanted to ask Uta a few questions. He said he's going to take a smoke break. So before you do that, Uta, can you come up to the panel? And I know that you have I think that Calvin wanted to ask you some questions as well. Are you there?
If he's not, we'll get him when he comes back.
Okay, we'll get him when he comes back. So we do have Queen 62 in the back chat. So, but
bring her on up on screen.
So, all right, welcome,
Queen. How you doing, dear?
Welcome.
How y'all doing?
Welcome back. We're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me back.
You know what? Me and Mel, we want to support what everybody's doing. I always try to tell people when you're building a podcast like we're building right now and building a show, it's about building other people up too, because we do what we do. We're confident in doing what we do, but we also want to help other folks do what they do, and we enjoy you coming on. You have any questions of us today? You know, I've been through a lot the last few weeks, man. You know, last week I had somebody try to run down on me and put some knots on my head. And you know what? I thought I handled myself okay.
You did. Matter of fact, you handled yourself so well. I think he owed both of us $1,000.
Well, you know what I'm gonna tell y'all, and I'm gonna have this conversation, and I don't want to give anybody any shine that shouldn't get any shine. I know Mel back there laughing. He give me one of them smiles. I'm looking at Mel now. But one thing I will tell you is I have to be careful, and I've had to learn how to control myself because, man, you know, I try to tell people I'm not going to get into an argument that's going to result in something foolish, because I've been doing this almost a quarter century. And people don't understand how hard I've worked, how really hard I've worked, and how hard I've struggled to get to where I am today. You know, growing up in a neighborhood that was basically crack infested, my mother having to clean hospital rooms in a psych ward, me not having the best relationship with my dad growing up, my grandparents basically giving me their last to make sure that I made it. You know, all that hard work I put in, man, when somebody tries to come on and disparage that, I don't have time for those games. And then one thing I also don't do is I don't argue down. Which means if just because you went to the feds and you did some knucklehead stuff when you was younger does not put you on my level.
I'm so glad you're talking like this. I'm so glad. I didn't even mean to interrupt you, but I think I have to, because like you said, you just got beat up, especially like the last few weeks. I had to put my damn glasses on, to be honest. And I came in white. I came in peace. And y'all making me break down in front of these people. You just don't know. When you were talking to someone and you were saying about a reputation, I say, man, people don't understand how important a person's reputation is, especially when they was built up and they had to get broke down, built up again, and then break down again. And finally, you have to learn how to stay built up, and then they still trying to break you down. No, it's not right. Reputations mean a lot to people these days. Whatever Sean did, whatever P. Diddy did, whatever Puff Daddy did, he gonna have to live with a reputation for the rest of his life. Just like whatever Cassie did, she gonna have to live with a reputation for the rest of her life. And people need to understand, us normal people, we have to live with a reputation too. I do a men only live, and one of the men came on last night, and he basically was saying, you know, so what do the men get out of this? And I looked at him and I said, the same conversation you would get if you were sitting on somebody else's stage, but you should be thankful that you're invited to my house. And I'm like, but furthermore, what are you expecting me to give men? I'm giving men what men give me, the right type of conversation when they know how to have it with me. I don't have to give men my body. I don't have to give that. But if the Lord bless me with whatever I have, don't think that I have to use that as a tool. Not everybody make it to the top that way, but our reputations mean a lot.
And you know what you just said?
6'2", it mean a lot to me, man. People try to break me down, and I'm like, no. And the Lord told me, keep going and don't sit down, because you're gonna have all kind of haters around you. But your reputation mean a lot.
And you know what you just said, and that's something I had to think about, because like people that came onto this podcast, and you know, Mel, we talk about this all the time, is people that came onto this podcast, a lot of them don't know me. And if you knew me in my city, like they don't understand like how important I am to my city, my part of town. But not only am I somebody who I did all of that to make it to where I'm at right now.
That's right.
I'm part of our organization called Serum Foundation. Serum Foundation, basically, we do neighborhood cleanups. We sponsor boxing tournaments. We do all kind of stuff in the community. So that's one thing that I do. In addition to that, people need to understand my lineage of becoming a lawyer. One of my mentors, the person that was next door to my office, I'm gonna tell you who that man was. You know, they made a movie about Thurgood Marshall and the 5 lawyers who won the desegregation case. And it was Thurgood Marshall, and it was 4 or 5 other lawyers that worked under him.
Right.
One of those guys is my mentor, Mr. Louis A. Bedford.
Wow.
So we're gonna start there. And if y'all don't know who Craig Watkins is the #1 DA for exonerations in the entire United States and United States history to this point. As far as Dallas County exonerations, Texas exonerations, He started that in Dallas, Texas, where he was exonerating these guys on death row for crimes that they did not commit. Do you know who that person was? He's my other mentor who was across the street, who mentored me, as well as Mr. Watkins. So that's where I come from. I come from a lineage of people who made differences in life. So when we talking about this Diddy case, man, I give my opinion, but at the same time, there is a reason why I give that opinion, because when I'm in federal court, I'm paying attention to what the judge is doing. Is the judge nodding their head?
That's right.
Are they agreeing with me? What's the body language? All of that we're talking about. Now, I got to give somebody else some shine here. I know Uta, I was going to ask Uta a question. Queen, we're going to come back to you in a second.
Okay.
Uta, what do you think about the
and real quick, before we like go further, like I know that we be agreeing and everything, it'd be like church up in here, but just so we don't miss each other's words, just everybody go on mute when one person is talking, because like even like I know you be agreeing, but sometimes it makes it hard to hear like what the
So mute when you're not on, and when you call you on, jump on. All right, go ahead, Uta. Tell us, man, what you think. You know I was going to ask you. You know what I asked you earlier, man. What do you think, number one, about this situation, the flying out culture and that kind of stuff as it relates to the Diddy trial, and what we got to start paying attention to as a general public?
I think all of it, y'all hear me well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because my mic is there. But yeah, man, I think all of it needs to be looked at as well, you know what I'm saying? Because just think about this, it's not just a flying out culture. What was just about to happen is just me passing you a spliff. Right now, I'm about to be distributing as well. It's a lot of other elements that's falling into this thing as well, you know what I'm saying? And you stated a few elements of how it could be. People getting flown out, things don't go the way you want it to go, this, and that. What's the standards? Who knows what all of that is? You know what I'm saying? We thought of consent and at one point being like, yo, a person could sign something or something like that. Now it's even beyond that right now. I mean, what is really consent? You know what I mean? Some people having, they call it consent regret. You know what I'm saying? You can consent to something at a time, but that don't mean you consent to it all the time too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot going on, whether you want, so it's a real hectic situation. And I think the Diddy case, and I mean, if he got RICO'd in that way, that could be just the average American. It's not just about him being a black man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just average American. You could be found in a freako. You know what I'm saying? You could have had your wife, your ex-wife. You caught in a freako. Look, you got a wife, right? You in the doghouse. You cheating on her. You're dead wrong. Okay? This is your wife. Y'all been together for how many years? It's your wife. Now you come home one day. You in the doghouse, right? You come home one day, you drink or whatever, you try to take the cookie. So you actually do it. So you grape her. No matter if she's your wife or not, this is grape because she has a right to her body, right? Boom. Not only that, you wake up the next morning. Remember, she been tight because you've been cheating for the whole time. And you done graped her. And she's mad about this too. Now you like, you know what? Now we about to take a trip. We about to go to Pennsylvania. We in New York. We about to go to Pennsylvania. You come and she said, I don't want to go nowhere with you, bro. You like, nah, you going to go with me. We go there. She's gonna smoke some weed. Can we there? All that. Yo, you in a trafficking RICO, freako, the same way. You know what I mean? Today it might be Diddy, tomorrow it could be you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the scary thing.
Yeah, that's the conversation that we were having. And I know, Mel, I want to ask you this, Mel, specifically, man, because you actually saw the body language of the witnesses when it came to Cassie and Jane Doe. What was their body language like? Because, as attorneys, man, I like to kind of see what they're saying. Are they somber? Did they seem like they wanted to testify? Was it kind of reserved? What was your thoughts, Mel, when it came to that?
Cassie came off very strong, very meek, mild, very convincing with her argument. The only time I saw her cry is when she would think and reminisce about her relationship and the love she had for Diddy. She did not cry when they played the videos. Toward the end, the last day, she cried about some things. But for the most part, she held it together, came across as a very knowledgeable, very clear-cut witness, looked good, sounded good. Again, Jane Doe was very strong, too. She came across very strong. She came across as though she could manipulate the future, I'll put it that way. Very strong too, but kind of like she was working some things out in the background.
I want to ask Queen.
in some ways. Jane Doe was a little too strong. You know what I mean? Right. At just one point. Because, you know, like when the way regular people talk, like I'm from the streets. I'm like, God changed my life the whole time. I'm still trying to change. But I'm just saying, though, right? Somebody might come up to say, let me get a cigarette or something. Like, God, I just know you was a cop, bro. It don't matter what you asking me for, bro. It's just how you asking me, right? So it's like one point in the testimony when Jane's testifying, right? They're like, okay, so you have these videos that you're watching, right? Because she said she bought this DVD or whatever, this movable thing, so that maybe this could suffice and be the escort over the other person, and she wouldn't have to share her significant other with the escort and do all this other stuff. So they said, okay, what was on the tapes? They said, did you see yourself on the tapes? She said, yes. They said, so what did you see on the tapes? Now listen, a regular person speaks regular, right? So I'm going to tell you, is this pork on her fork right now? Is this pigs? Look, they're going to ask her what she see on the tape. She's going to say, I just seen this pattern, this pattern. She's speaking this pattern. The normal person going to speak. They might not say this. You sounded more like prosecution. You sounded more like a cop. You sounded more like a person that thinks like that. Regular person might say, you know what? Nah, man, I just seen me doing the same thing over. And it was just like, I ain't what. You gonna might say it in a different way. Even she sounded like, because we know that the prosecution preps the witnesses. Jane was very smart and she was prepped very well. That's all I'm saying.
And see, that's the kind of stuff that attorneys catch, because we go like, wait a minute, she talking like this, but in them text messages, you weren't talking about that. You was talking like, give me that pipe, give me this, do that to me, do that to me. So those are the kind of things that I want to talk about. I'm gonna ask Queen another question. And then we're going to, and I want to go to T Lounge, and I'm going to bring her in and ask her a question too. Queen, now I'm going to ask you something. And me and Mel, because we don't want to, so me and Mel have conversations, but we want to make sure that, hey, when it comes to women in these situations, what is the consensus? When I say what is the consensus, Queen, I have some women that say, now, come on now, they knew what they were doing. They participated and they were getting paid because they knew what they were doing. And then they got some women are going like, no, when somebody's being trafficked and the man has all the power. What are you hearing from your sisters when y'all get in the room and y'all talk amongst yourselves? I don't want to get you in any trouble, but what are you hearing in the room? Unmute yourself.
You mean as far as whether or not the women, like which women agree and which women don't?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I like to talk to the men. I haven't really talked to the women about this case, if you want me to be honest. And I'm not being funny. I really haven't. But because I talk to men. But my opinion of it, when I think about it, with no other influences from any other woman, I feel like it played a role on both sides of that one woman.
Okay.
Like she gave me a double side. She gave me a double side of her. She gave me one side of her where she was actively knowing and she had all rights to leave. And then she showed me another side of her where she might have been so manipulated on the inside, she didn't know how to leave. So I looked at her like a double-edged sword.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. And then T Lounge, if you're listening, T Lounge, I want your opinion on this, because this show is about also understanding what's going on with other people. T Lounge, what else is what do you think about that? Like, if you could come on, if you're listening, give us your opinion on that. If you could unmute yourself and tell us what you think.
Well, for me, having sat in the courtroom, I feel like I had a different reaction to a lot of the people that I was there with, and people that, well, no, not the people that I was talking to outside of it, but because I had a completely different reaction to Cassie personally. When she started out speaking and she said that it started for me when she said Diddy had introduced her to oral at whatever age she was. And I said, am I being lied to? That was my first reaction. You can make the faces that you want to make. I'm just
I was thinking the same thing. What are you talking about?
Okay. So I was saying to myself, am I being lied to? Like, this sounds like a scheme that Ty set up to come to us with the BS, right? So now I am depending on the words that she's saying, because if I were to go by the text messages and the things that they were presenting that was physical evidence, I'm going to need your testimony. And as she's speaking, I'm hearing, I think he would have done this, and I feel like he would have done that. And it was a litany of I thinks and I feel. And that's when I started to say to myself, wait a minute now. I don't want to hear about what you think and you feel. I need to know what happened. What happened when you had a moment where you were tired or you didn't want to do it anymore? What was that discussion like? What was that discussion about? How did he react? And honestly, didn't get it. It was always I think and I feel and I think and I feel. And I'm from I've done a lot of work in social services. I've heard a lot of stories and testimonies in regards to certain crimes, essays and stuff like that. I've never heard anyone, but I never heard them in court either. So I have to take that into consideration as well. But it was a lot of I thinks and I feel and I think and I feel. And my red flags and my flags go up. My antennas go up when I hear think and feel. I need to know
what actually happened, right?
Yeah.
And see, that's where I'm concerned because, and listen, I want everybody to understand when it comes to this podcast, like we're inclusive. We've included a number of people on this panel so that we don't get just get tunnel vision about what we're doing and what we're saying. And one of the things that I try to tell people is, even as I give my legal opinion, I'm not going to 100% always be right, but I can pick up on certain instances. I can pick up on body language. I can pick up on how I understand what the federal judiciary has done in the past. And judges don't want to seem like or want to feel like that they're the judge that did not take human trafficking serious, that they did not take domestic violence serious, that they did not take this case serious for those victims who have been hurt in a way that is unfortunate. And so the judges typically that I know and that I've been in front on the federal and the state level, they take precautions because they don't want to look like that they went too soft on people sometimes, right? Especially when it comes to women. I mean, nowadays, man, if you get held out to be the judge that did not take domestic violence or trafficking or sex trafficking serious, then it puts you in it creates a narrative that's attached to your name as a judge that you don't want that attached to, because judges themselves, they're real people. Judges still got to go to church. They got sons, they got daughters, they got business relationships, they got family relationships that they got to maintain, and professional relationships that they got to maintain. And a lot of the judges are really principled on what they think about making sure that people are just decent citizens that don't go out commit crimes, and they don't want to be a part of partaking in somebody committing a crime and not getting punished for it, and the victim not getting justice. And so when I make my comments about sentencing with Mr. Combs, it's a combination of things, which when I say a combination of things, it's the situation with Cassie. It's the 2 charges he did get convicted of. It's the action of the judge who on 4 or 5 occasions had the opportunity to let Mr. Combs go home, but didn't. All in bond hearings, he said no. He dismissed one of Mr. Combs' jurors. When they made a motion for mistrial, he denied it. And he's basically signaling to us by pointing out that Mr. Combs, from his own attorney, has admitted to being violent toward women, that he considered him a risk to society to be out on bond until sentencing, which ain't gonna be about 3 months away. So to me, if I'm a judge, if I can't trust you for 3 months not to do anything, that doesn't tell me that I'm gonna get to sentencing and say, you know what, time, sir, I'm gonna let you go to the house. I mean, and it's nothing against anybody else. It's nothing against anybody else who's disagreed with me. I'm not trying to disparage anyone, but I'm trying to make sure that people understand why I say what I said. It's because, to me, based on the judge's actions until this point, the judge, to me, is looking for a way to increase the amount that he can give Mr. Combs, right? And when I say he's looking for a way to be able to send a message of, Mr. Combs, I'm not going to give you 10 years, 12 years because you can get up to 10 years on these charges. But you are allegedly a first-time offender of this kind of stuff anyway. So I'm not going to hammer you, but I'm also not going to give you a slap on your hand and let you go to the house after I heard all of this testimony. After I watched on video try to kick Cassie's head like a football, he tried to punt her. And so I know that a judge doesn't want to come off as just letting that go. So to me, he's going to look for a way to legitimately try to give Mr. Combs some kind of sentence where Mr. Combs has to stay locked up another 2 to 4 years. That's what I'm thinking. And that's just me. In addition to that, the sentencing guidelines are what? Advisory. They're advisory. When I say advisory means typically if I do A and D, I'm going to get between C and D. But as a crime, the way it is listed, I can get all the way up to 10 years. The statute says that I legitimately could give you 10 years, despite that your offense level is this amount. Your offense level may say 2 to 3 years, but I can give you up to 10 years. Now, am I going to give you 10 years? Probably not. But if I did, I should be justified in doing so because that's what the law says. And the sentencing guidelines are advisory. And when I say advisory, which means they can go under or they can go above. If Judge was going to go under, he would have let Mr. Combs go home at the time he was found not guilty. Because why bring him back and why unlock him up to lock him up?
I have a question. I have 2 questions.
Yes.
One, after when he was talking about the sentencing, he said he wasn't going to use that whole violence aspect. Like he's not going to hold that against him, essentially. And the other thing is, isn't Cassie's like I'm wondering why he's even convicted when it comes to Cassie, because I thought it was out of the
let me tell you that he's not convicted and when it comes to Cassie. And what I try to break things down to people is when it gets to sentencing, Puffy will bring up stuff that has no relation to his crimes to try to improve the way he looks in front of the judge, right? But when it comes to prior bad acts or convictions, what some judges will do, they will allow the prior bad acts in, right? And not only that, Mr. Combs' attorney himself actually introduced the abuse in as part of his argument. And so what I try to do with people, and this is my concern, and I got to reiterate because I saw somebody even in the chat say this. No, the judge can go above his point range. I want people to understand that. Now, will the judge go far out of his point range as a first-time offender? He probably shouldn't. And Mr. Combs would have a good argument to actually appeal the sentence if he went outside of what the punishment range listed by the points. But once again, the federal guidelines are advisory. Advisory means they advise as a judge when a person has these many points that he should get between this sentence and this sentence, okay? And typically, if I am an attorney and they give my guy outside, let's say they go higher than what somebody else who did this did, and they go higher than that, of course, I'm going to be able to appeal the amount of time he gave me, but the judge is still allowed to go past, let's say his top number is 28 months. The judge can go past that if he wants to, because it's advisory. I had somebody throw up a chart on our last stream, and I was trying to keep my cool so I couldn't really answer the way I wanted to answer, because the old me would have just went slap off, right? So I was trying to maintain my composure, because as a professional, I must do so, because I still have to be a lawyer after this podcast. I still have to be a lawyer, and I still have to hold myself out to the public as an attorney that's going to go out and handle his business, that can keep his composure. But I'm trying to explain to everybody that those guidelines are advisory. I've even had a judge go under the guidelines based on somebody's behavior in a case, because they kind of got roped in at the back end of it and they didn't do as much. So I literally had a judge basically let somebody get slightly under the minimum, because they literally, if they'd have got the minimum, they would have had to do 3 or 4 more months. And he was just like, you know what? You've been in custody for the last 2.5 years. I'm just going to sentence you to this, even though the guidelines say 24 months, I'm going to give you 20 months, right? Because he could let him go home that day. And so the judge has the ability to go under, but he also has the ability to go over. Just like they can do a downward departure. Y'all know what a downward departure is? Where you file for your client to say, hey, our client deserves a downward departure because A, B, C, and D, maybe some of the behavior, maybe he has some issues at home, maybe he's done some good and better things, that he's not much of a risk because of A, B, and C. Just like you can ask for a downward departure, the state can say, hey, we know that this says 28 months max, or 24 months max, or 31 months max. But because of the behavior of this case, the additional behavior in this case, and the number of people that were trafficked or brought over for the purposes of prostitution, we're going to differentiate this case from another case where the guy had the same conviction, because in that case, right, there was only 2 people brought over. In this case, there was 17 brought over, and 9 brought over, or 12 brought over. So there's going to be a huge argument about, hey, he should be between 21 and 27 months, or whatever that amount is. And, right, and the government saying 51 to 63. That's going to be a huge argument. You know why it's going to be a huge argument? Because each lawyer is going to go to their research clerk, and they're going to say, research clerk, go pull 4 or 5 cases like Mr. Combs where the guy got 27 months, and this is what we want, max 27 months, right? And then this prosecution is going to say, hey, judge, we're going to go find a case where there was similar to this, where the guy got 51 to 63 months, or the judge, even if we don't have a case that says 51 to 63 months, all the other cases involving trafficking don't include the number of victims or alleged victims and the alleged behavior. And because of that behavior, judge, we want you to take your advisory guidelines and go above what you would normally place him at. And we're asking for this amount of time based on what we feel his point should be. There's going to be a huge argument about that.
Yep. But the judge said that he didn't even want to hear any arguments from them. He just wants the numbers. How long has somebody done for this similar crime, you know, from the defense and from the prosecution? He said he didn't want to hear no arguments. He don't want to hear any argument. He just wants to know how much time. And when you take someone, first off, as far as the actual trafficking, I think we have 3. The government laid out 3 individuals, Jules, Anton, and Cabral, that was actually transported from one place to another. At this point, Diddy is a John. In Elliot Spitzer's case, the actual escort company is the one who caught the Mann Act charges, along with the escorts or the prostitutes, you know? So how does it work for the John? Because Elliot Spitzer was in the same sort of a situation. However, he didn't do no time.
Well, see, this is what I'm gonna break down for you guys, and this is why we got to be careful. Spitzer, of course, was a John, and of course they can consider Diddy being a John, but like there's going to be little differences in their cases in terms of how many people were brought over, how that was done. Puffy, in his situation, you mixing some of your private company up with your private life. And so that's going to be an issue. And the fact that, you know, Puffy is a billionaire, so he has a lot of money and he has a lot of influence, and there were a lot of people involved. And then you got
hold on, wait a minute.
I'm letting you know.
Wait, not you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm irritated. Not only did I read the transcripts and own the transcripts, I was there in court. I know how many people they said traveled, actually. There was about 30 prostitutes, but a lot of them did their dirt in the state they lived. Okay, so we're talking about the people that actually boarded a plane and went to wherever they were.
How many did that for us?
Let's have somebody else who was there say the number, because I don't want to be misquoted.
But not be beyond the numbers now, really, because he's already been convicted of 2 things now. So now we're beyond that stage now. So now we're at a stage. Look, it really is all up to the judge. Really, everything's up to the judge. Even things that you've been acquitted of, the judge has sat here and heard this whole case, right? Regardless of what the judge said, I mean the jury said, he sat here and looked. So now it's up to him now. He know what he's heard, what he feel you've been alleged to, whatever the case. He got things that he probably think that you got away with right now. Actually, the judge got his own mindset right now going on.
Bingo.
And that's the scary thing. That's the thing.
And so, Uda, and that's what I'm trying to tell people. I don't want people to think, because I don't want to sound like I'm arguing that Puffy should get more time.
No.
Honestly, if it's left up to me,
prosecution is going to do it.
Exactly. If it's left up to me as a defense attorney, I want him to go ahead and come home based on what I've seen.
And not only that, Calvin,
they're going to push for more than 51 to 60 whatever months, you know. They're going to push for higher than these things. They're going to try to push more towards the maxes based on some of the things that you've been alleged against, based on some of the relevant conduct in this case already.
And that's what's scary.
Use and all these other things. So the judge might say, you know what? I could go in the middle of both of these things right now, and I could do it like this, where the defense feel like this, whatever, but the prosecution and I feel like the victims or whatever, and he could just do this. But it all depends on the judge. That's what's the scariest thing. It's just however the judge feels, because he's heard the whole case. So he's just going to listen to our arguments now and see whatever, if y'all could sway his opinion in any other way, maybe. Because he knows about this case for himself.
Real quick, before anyone else talks, that girl Henny been very patient with us. I would like to hear from her. What's up, that girl Henny? What's up?
Oh, hold on 1 second.
All right, so Uda, what were you saying? Keep going, because I
was just saying. I mean, it could be very, very scary. So you know, listen, Diddy don't have no record. So that's the best thing. So you think your lawyer is working for you in the system? Your record is the best thing that could really, really work for you. That give your lawyer something to work with when you ain't got that much of a record. Now he could work. They could work some magic. You probably could be guilty of something, and they could work around some stuff if you ain't got no record. So Diddy's record is what's working the best for him right now. His lawyer can't even work as fast as that could be. So that's already known. We know he ain't got no record. So that's speaking well. We in the feds. They dealing with
mitigating circumstance. You know
what I'm saying? We dealing with the feds. So they deal with this higher record. All of these things are all factors. But even though he got acquitted of the higher and the harsher charges, these 2 charges ain't light though too. Don't think that these is light. They just the light out of those 3 things that happen. So these charges is still real. Some people get rocked. They could go to reference, like you said, other cases to show you other standards of what people got and things like that. Or they could do a bunch of things. You know what I mean? But it's just basically up to the judge. How the judge feels depends on Diddy's probably speech, because you get a chance to probably speak before sentencing and all these things too. So maybe what you say, the accountability that you take, things that you plan on doing. You got 4 daughters on earth right now. You won't want to leave no
all that is weighed. Yep.
You need to go into all that. You need to go into the tears and the fears and all of that. You know what I mean? All of these things might help you. Who knows if it will, but who knows?
Okay, let me do this for y'all.
Hold on, real quick. I want to just take a quick commercial break. As you guys have been seeing throughout this show, I am putting up the YouTube channels of all the people that are on the panel. If I don't have your channel, please let me know if you're actually broadcasting on your channel too. But I want you guys to please support these channels. Okay, we have Watching the World 777. We have my channel, DJ Genesis Detroit. This is a combined effort of different people that are coming together to discuss this. We have Didi Said It. We have Uda on the Go. And then we have Calvin Johnson. They won't let me out. And if anyone else is broadcasting on their channel, please let me know. Watching the World 777. Please like it. So please go to those channels and please subscribe. Show your support. If you are in Texas and you need an attorney, please go and check out his website, theywon'tletmeout.com. And I just wanted to give that quick little commercial break, and we're back in it. So let's go.
Okay, let's do one thing real quickly first. And I know we got to go to that girl Henny because we hadn't had her in yet, and then we'll go to we'll go back to Queen for a second, and then we'll go to Mel because we got to get Mel back in here. I'm gonna explain something to you. Typically, after the scheduling conference, which has already happened, within 7 to 14 days, the court orders what we call a PSR. A PSR is a pre-sentencing recommendation. And what happens in the week 3 and 4, the third week and the fourth week after the scheduled conference, and that scheduling conference has already happened, Combs will do an interview with the U.S. probation officer. So when my client has been pleaded guilty or already found guilty, within 3 to 4 weeks, I sit down with a federal probation officer. That probation officer will go through your whole life story. They'll go through how far you went in school, what your businesses are, what you've been doing with your life. Do you have any substance abuse issues? Have you ever been addicted to any drugs? Do you have a continuing drug problem? Do you have any medical issues that you want to know? Are there any mitigating factors in your upbringing? Who your mom is, your dad is, how you were raised, how far you went in school, how educated you are? And within 60, 75 days, they file a PSR. So 5 to 10 weeks, the PSR is collected, as well as the victim impact statements are collected. And then what happens is the PSR is handed to the defense and it is handed to the state. And then what happens is during the PSR, they will come up with a number. And the federal probation officers will say, we see it as a level this, and this sentence should be here and here. And then both sides were going to say, either A, that's too high, that's too low, or that's about right. And within 60 to 75 days, they file what we call objections, which means if they don't like what's in that PSR, they don't like the offense level and the point level, they argue about that. And then they do that. And then what happens is they file what we call a sentencing memoranda. A sentencing memoranda basically is, we're going to say, hey, we know the PSR says that he is at a level, I'm just going to use that example. The PSR says he's at a level 14, but if I'm the state, I want him at a level 21, 24, 27, and we feel like he should get these many points. And the state, and then the defense says, no, we feel like he should be a level lower than what even they filed, and he should get this many points. And everybody makes their arguments based off of case law, people that are similarly situated, other cases, what they've done in that particular circuit. Those things they're happening. And so after that, the judge will do what they call a sentencing hearing. And in that sentencing hearing, you could have Mr. Combs come up, he can testify, he can have people testify on his behalf. They file what they want as a sentence. He can bring in his mother if he wants to, his maid, his brother, his best friend. He can bring people up there, testify on his behalf. And also the government can bring up the alleged victims up there, alleged victims or whatever they could testify how they were affected, or the government can bring other experts up there to testify why they think that Mr. Combs should get more time. And then what happens is the judge in October 3rd will give a sentence down. And within 14 days of that sentencing, a notice of appeal has to be filed. So let's say I'm Mr. Combs and they go in there and let's say I've already served 12 months and they just give me 2 or 3 years. I might go, you know what, man, I can cut some time off by taking a drug program. I'll be out here in 10, 12 months. I'm going to go ahead and ride it out. I don't want to deal with it anymore. Or let's say they give him too much time and he says, man, judge, you went outside the sentencing range that the point system says, even though they're advisory, I don't think I was treated properly. So I'm going to file an objection to the sentence. Right. I'm going to file an appeal to the sentence, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to ask for less based on the fact that Jimmy did the same thing I did, or Elliot did the same thing I did, and he got less. And so that's what they can do. And then typically that appeal process can last anywhere from 12 to 18 months. And so the reason why I say what I say is because let's say they go in and let's say Mr. Combs, they give Mr. Combs, he's already served 11 months, 12 months. Let's say they give him 30 months. Mr. Combs might look at it like, you know what, man, they gave me 30 months, right? Why am I going to try to appeal this? Because I'm going to spend all this money trying to do that. I might not hear back. I might not get a decision from a year from now. During that time, he is not going to let me go home. He's already told me not to let me go home. So I'm just sitting here. Why don't I just do my last 12 months? I only got 18 more months to go. Let me take this program. I can go a year, be home. I can be done with it. I can put this behind me so I can focus on the other fights in my life. So that's why I'm saying there's a lot we can go here. But remember, everybody, the judge can do what he want to do. All of this, he can't go above. No, when you have a federal judge, that's why those federal judgeships are so important. Man, those guys have a lot of leeway. I'm gonna give you let me give you an example of how much leeway they have. If I'm in state court and I got a federal court, if I'm in state court and I got a federal court hearing, and let's say I've been waiting in state court for this trial to go for a whole year, and I've been in federal court 3 months. Guess where I got to go first? I got to go to federal court. So if a federal judge tells me, leave a state court and come to me right now, the state judge can't say a damn thing. They have to bite, they have to grin and bear it, and I go to the federal court. That tells you the level of power that they have as a federal judge. So that if you think that somebody's going to go and tell them how much they can sentence him to, when the maximum says 10, they can go 10 if they want to, but of course they're not going to go 10. But let's say they go 5, when literally he should have been looking at 2.5 or 2. They can do that because those guidelines are advisory. So those federal judges have a lot of power. And I'm not advocating for Mr. Combs to get more, but if I'm Mr. Combs' lawyer, I'm going to say, hey, man, we feel like you're right here because anybody who did what you did, they're right here. And we're going to argue like hell that you get this amount. But I also have to tell Mr. Combs, hey, man, we got to watch this guy. He's had 3 times to let you go home. He hasn't let you go home. He seemed like he was going to let you go home. And then all of a sudden he come back and he didn't let you go home. He got rid of the juror we liked. I got to make sure that I start paying attention to that as my client. Man, Mr. Combs, you got to watch out for this one. Be careful now. He really only supposed to go at this amount of months, but don't be surprised if he goes a little bit above that. So I have to tell him that. And to be honest with you, if you're asking me what my expectations are, my expectations is he may not give the government everything that they want as far as going to 53 to 61, but I think he's going to give the government some of what they want. I don't see him giving Mr. Combs a minimum and let him go to the house that day. Now, if he does that, then I'm wrong. But based on all the cues that I've saw to this point, I don't think that that's going to happen. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. There's a reason that I'm saying what I'm saying. And if anybody disagrees with me, it's okay. I'm okay with that. It's just that I'm not going to change my opinion based on what somebody here tells me, because I have to go on what I've learned for the last quarter century. And I'm going to trust it.
And not only that, I feel like, I mean, that's not even a defense that you really got to fight, because if there's anybody out there that's been through the criminal and the justice system and have been sentenced and they set on that side, they already know it's when it's up to the judge, he can go to maximum, he can go to minimum, he can go to middle. It's all about what he decides. But if they've been in jail before, or they've been found guilty, or just went through the process, they're going to understand where you're coming from.
Exactly.
Agree with that totally, but you know
Now
what?
I have a question.
I just think Diddy.
you,
I just say
Calvin.
this about Diddy.
Okay.
Say about Diddy, right? If the judge,
When Uda's done, you can come up. Sorry.
Diddy beat a whole RICO and he beat the harshest charges, right? You would think he probably could get bail. He doesn't get bail. So why would they not give him bail and then give him this lesser of the charges of the time? Why would if you know that they're gonna give you, if they know that they're about to give you basically probably the lesser of it, then why not give you a bail? So since they're trying to hold on to you so tight, that's what makes me kind of lean maybe that he won't get the 2. He may get a 5 or something like that. You never know.
That's common sense. That's why I was trying to tell the people the other day, and I got people jumping down my neck about it. And that girl Henry, you got a question? I think you were getting ready to ask something. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was. Hey, everybody on the panel. So I don't know if y'all can hear my background. I'm actually in my little studio, so that's the rain coming down. But my question is, now I'm here and looking up and trying to figure this out for myself, because you know I like to read and research. is it possible that behaviors that were acquitted could actually be added into this as well, Kelvin?
It can, and see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Some of the behaviors in terms of like, let's say when he kicked Cassie, even though he hasn't really been found guilty of that, the judge can't consider that, because what people don't understand when it comes to sentencing, it's convictions and prior bad acts. And what I try to tell people, prior bad acts are things that you have kind of been accused of, like hitting Cassie, or setting the car on fire, or some of the other things. I'm not saying they're going to use that, but I'm just saying they could use your prior behaviors or bad acts in your sentencing. The government can use it, and the judge can consider it. And some people go, "Oh, judge can't consider that." Well, how are you going to tell the judge what he can and can't consider it?
Right.
He can go ahead and just say, he ain't got to tell you he's considering it. He can just think about it and use it anyway. And so I try to tell people, you got to be extremely careful when it comes to these sentencing guidelines, because I've had people go under the guidelines, and I've seen situations where they went over.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I wanted to discuss with all of y'all, just a little something that has come across my mind, especially when it comes down to the sex trafficking. I know we're all used to the horrific stories of things, people being locked up and people being, you know, restrained and withheld. And as far as everyday people, if you go to Cornell Law and look up what the definition of trafficking is, yeah, this is very dangerous for all of us, because it doesn't have to look like that according to definition. And even if a person doesn't consider themselves a victim, the law can consider them a victim. So yeah, all of this flew out culture that we're into, yeah, you may want to rethink the way that you're doing things.
And y'all listen, that's why I try to tell people we got to really start adjusting our behavior, and we got to be extremely careful about, number one, our understanding of the system, and our understanding of our own private behaviors and the power that is set in the judiciary. You know, I was doing a show yesterday on another network, and I had the guy. There's a guy named Richard Miles here in Texas, and we have this thing called the Richard Miles Act. And what happened was, this young man was convicted of murder based on some eyewitness testimony. When he got convicted, he couldn't afford the transcripts, and so he tried to order the records, and he couldn't get the records at the time of the trial that went on. And later on in life, he was able to get the records. And guess what he found in the records? What he found in the records was that an individual had called and told the police department that they know who committed the crime that he was accused of, that the person had bragged to them that they had committed the crime and said when they had done it, and they know who they were, and that the police department did not share that with the DAs, and the jury never saw this person's statement, or that statement was never investigated like it should have been, and Mr. Miles never knew about it and ended up doing 16 years. And so when I talk to people about this system and the power of the system and the power of this system that can be used against you, we have to be aware, and we have to be careful that when it comes to people of color, even though Puffy's a millionaire, when it comes to people of color and it comes to poor people, there's a lot that can be used against you. And when they can use it, more times than not, they're going to try to use it. And so that's the background that I come from. And everybody has to understand that I'm down here. I think I'm one of the few people in the South. I know Queens and Florida. But as far as Texas, Louisiana, man, it's a whole nother ball game down here. Like this is some of the worst criminal justice situations are Louisiana and Texas. I argue, I'm telling you right now, I bet we got the crown.
I believe it.
We got the crown. And I'm in a movie where they convinced a mentally retarded person to confess to a crime he didn't commit, despite the fact that they picked up a white guy across town covered in blood. And the fact that my guy in the 1960s was mentally challenged and couldn't drive a car, and in the crime he would have had to drive a car 30 miles. His family was scared to let him even use public transportation, much less drive a car.
Why do you think that is, Calvin? Why do you think that is between those particular states?
Because you know why? Because they have a history of racism. They have a history of injustices.
But you know, South Carolina was the head slave state. So they skip in states like that and move over to the West. And I don't know, that's kind of, that's something.
Well, South Carolina is predominantly
South
black.
Carolina is closer to the north. When you in Texas, you got to go through Mississippi, Alabama, you go all the way down here, and it gets to Texas and it's worse. I mean, I have a man in the movie that I'm in. He literally did 43 years in a mental institution, right? They actually dismissed the case that they arrested him for 7 years into his incarceration and put him in a mental facility for the last 35 years. And they never told his family that the case had been dismissed. They just left him, or they didn't even notify his family. So I want you to understand, we're in Texas. Those are some of the things that have happened here in Texas. And I'm telling you right now, with the way the criminal justice system is going, and the way that we have these MAGA folks out here, and the way that some of the criminal justice situations are going, if we're not careful, we're going to go back in time.
So, Kelvin, so if that's the case,
wait,
then
hold on.
What can happen? Like what boots can be on the ground? Like what can happen to start breaking that bond and breaking this cycle? What can we do? Like, I know we talk about it and we definitely see it in numbers. Like, what is it that we could do?
What we need to start doing, number one, is we have to continue to protest, but we got to protest with purpose. And then we got to make sure that the people we elect are going to actually legislate. And when I say actually legislate, man, put up bills that are going to get passed, that are going to cut some of this stuff out. Like the Richard Miles Act, like the guy that I had on one of my shows yesterday. Richard, there's an act named after him. And when I do a plea in Texas, I got to sign, the state has to sign off, and I got to sign off that I've seen the discovery, that they've seen the discovery, and I've shared the discovery with my client. And that if anything else comes up, then I have to tell my client that it's there, and that the state has to agree to move it forward to us and let us know. They have to shoot us an email and let us know additional information was added. And so
no surprise. Yeah.
No surprise.
Right. So right quick, I wanted to because Zion has been very patient and waiting for his time to talk. Welcome to the panel, Zion. What did you have something that you wanted to add to the
Thank you. Yeah. I absolutely agree with Attorney Calvin. There's those mitigating circumstances. Now, when we talked about like Texas is really bad. I'm a father's rights advocate, and I have a lot of people who come to me from Texas, even with a lot of Bible Belt states. You're a conservative, and we have a lot of those issues with race and stuff because of the historic, background and culture of the people. Especially in South Carolina. I lived in South Carolina for about nine years in Charleston, South Carolina, right by the slave, the slave auction site. Okay. So it was crazy over there. It's one of the reasons why I went back home. But with Texas, even with the mothers and fathers, the disposition of 50-50 custody and all of that stuff, they're very much, I would say draconian in that sense, you know. So I absolutely agree with you when it comes to that, because I'm just from my side of seeing, even white fathers, 90% of all my followers on my father's rights page are whiite. Okay, exactly. The brothers are getting custody and getting 50-50. The white guys are the ones who are crying. I'm sorry.
I'm being honest with you, because a lot of us now, we understand the importance of fighting for our kids. Right. And we understand that we must fight the system. But I'm going to tell y'all this. Look, because when we do our streams, it's been running past the 2 hours. I'm going to let y'all know at 4:15, me and Mel are going to take the last 5 minutes. And so if we have other comments, who's up next, we're going to go ahead and get maybe 1 or 2 more people. But at 4:15, we stopping. Me and Mel gonna close out our last 5 minutes because I got to do some other things. And what we are going to do, y'all, I want everybody on this page listening. Me and Mel are going to continue to do this Sunday. We're going to probably grow this. We might even go a little longer in the future. But we appreciate, number one, that you guys are coming on with us. We value your opinion. We want to share our users with you, and we want you to share your users with us because we want to help each other.
Yes, sir.
But at 4:15, we're going to stop, and me and Mel are going to take the last 5 minutes to talk about what we're going to be doing moving forward. And who's next? I want to get somebody else on.
I wanted to just finish one thing
yes.
with what you just said, and I'm totally on board with this. I think that and I spoke with DJ Genesis about this recently about the true crime, and we don't have to just cover Black issues. Look at what just happened with the Preppy Party murder trial. Mm-hmm. It was the same exact. Well, I would say that the white guy was in more of a defensive position because he cut 4 people and killed 1 out of 5, and he just got. And did he just get off for self-defense?
Yeah, he did.
Did
he just get off, y'all?
And that's one thing we got to start thinking about. And I had somebody say this to me. I used to. I was a clerk one summer during my second year of law school for a guy named Clifton Jessup. And Clifton Jessup was a partner at this law firm called Patton and Boggs. And he had worked with the federal government. He had worked in different places. He was one of the few African-American partners at major law firms that were African-American males. And he said, we can't do what they do, how they do it. And when he said it to me, he said it in that James Earl Jones voice that he has. And it stuck with me because we have to understand as brothers and sisters that we're going to be held to a higher standard when certain behaviors and certain things happen. So I wanted everybody to do that. But listen, I don't want to cut y'all off, but right now it's about 4:13 and we got to shut this down for now because I got some other stuff we got to do. But listen, we're going to be here next Sunday. We want y'all to come back. I'm going to drop everybody else off right now. But listen, y'all, we're going to do this again next Sunday. We want all of y'all to come back and rock with us.
And listen, real quick, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about the other cases. We didn't get the Carmelo Anthony case, which is really hot right now. Things going on.
What me and Will are going to do, we're going to drop everybody off the screen right now. And we're going to talk about where we might be going next. Of course, we're going to continue to talk about Diddy up into the sentencing, but we're going to probably transition into talking Carmelo Anthony. And so, Mel, go ahead and talk about what that's going to look like and what we're going to be doing.
So when it comes to Carmelo, first off, I want to say shout out to the individuals that came on today. I appreciate everybody that hit the like button. As far as T Lounge, that girl, Henny, Uda, myself, we were in the courtroom pretty much every day. You guys always should pull up. I think we're going to be going probably to the same trials going forward. So I appreciate that. Now, as far as the next trial on deck, it's going to be Young Thug's brother, which is going to be in September. His name is Gregory King. So I'll be covering that RICO. And then after that, we're going to cover Carmelo Anthony. I'll be down in Texas with Calvin. We'll be covering the case hands on deck. I'm pretty sure most of you guys will be there as well too. So that's what the landscape looks like for the near future. Obviously, we're going to cover Luigi Mangione, be in court every day for that as well.
Yeah. So and I'll tell y'all the deal with the Carmelo Anthony case that I know his current attorney Mike Howard. I've done some work with him before. He's an excellent attorney. The judge, John Works Jr., believe it or not, I actually have a relationship with him because I actually did, after my third year of law school, I did some clerking for him for a week. And he is considered to be actually one of my mentors. So when I first started practicing law, he actually took me out to Collin County, introduced me to everybody, and introduced me to the judges and to the prosecutors out there and showed me the ropes when I very first got started. So I'm extremely thankful to Mr. John Works Jr., and he is the judge who has been assigned the Carmelo Anthony case. Now, I'm not getting any special favor in this courtroom, so I don't want anybody to think that, but I know him, and I know that he's very no nonsense. He's a very fair judge. and he's very, very common sense. Like, he's not going to play any games. He's not going to play any of these internet games with folks. And he's not going to just have anyone doing all this craziness in his courtroom. So he runs a very organized, detailed courtroom. He's going to run a very organized and detailed trial. And so I'm looking forward to everybody continuing to rock with us and continuing to grow with us. It ain't just about us. We want all y'all to grow. You know, I always try to tell people, me and Mel have this thing, like, you know, for us to win, you don't have to lose. We both can win. So we want y'all to continue to rock with us. Anybody that's watching this stream, continue to watch the show with us, continue to watch us. And when it comes to me personally as an attorney, like I said, I've addressed this several times on this stream, man. Hey, look, I'm definitely keeping my cool about anything that has happened in the past. And I have no ill will against anybody who said something about me in the past. But at the same time, and I worked hard to get here. This has not been a joke for me. I've really busted my butt in terms of working in the courtroom. I've been doing legal and law-related stuff since I was, you know, basically 13, 14 years old. I mean, even the high school that I graduated from was law-related. And so, and the guys that have mentored me, the guys that I have done work with, the guys who have shown me the ropes are some real legal heavy hitters that have done some things in this world, have done some things in this life. And so I share my legal opinions with you. But at the same time, you're free to disagree with me. But when you come on our channel, when it comes to me and Mel, please understand and be respectful in the comments, and be respectful in the comments that you make toward us, because what I try to tell people is, hey, man, look, I want to respect you. And if you're 40, 45, 50 years old, and you don't have the common sense to come on our page and be respectful as you're talking to us, then you're not somebody that I'm going to engage with. I'm not going to waste my time talking to you, because I have a lot more to lose than just a public podcast. I have a reputation. I still have to represent people in court, and I'm the lawyer. I'm the one that who people hired, that I got to keep my cool, because I got somebody's life in my hands. It ain't about me. It's about them. And then you got to always put your client above yourself. And that's the thing. You know, I want to make sure that I share this with everybody, because, you know, things got a little sideways in one of our other streams. And I want to make sure that people definitely understand that, because I got to be honest with you. Yeah, you know, somebody almost took me there, but I kept my cool. But at the same time, Mel got me because I've been doing this 25 years almost. Mel got me because he knows my background. Y'all have to understand, the high school that I even went to was law related. One of my first jobs was at an intern. I'm the truth when it comes to this. Listen, I started out in the mailroom of a law firm back when I was a young man, when I was 16 years old. And then when I was 18 years old, I worked at another firm for a summer, where the paralegal there, I worked in the mailroom, and she was a paralegal at this big firm. Do you know who my paralegal is now? She's my paralegal now, because she's retired and she works from home, but she works for me now. So I've had a full circle moment upon which where the person that was my paralegal when I worked in the mailroom now works for me. So, man, I put some real work in. And Nipsey got a song called "You Ain't Did None of This." Go listen to it. You ain't did none of this. I mean, I have really grinded. I've really worked. I mean, I busted my butt. I come from the hood. I went to a private university, and I went to a private law school when my parents basically raised me up in the projects of Dallas. So I've been able to go to heights that most people can't even get to through my hard work and the blessings of the Lord. So I'm going to respect everybody in the chat. I respect everybody on this panel. Queen, Mel, Uda, that girl Hennessy, DJ Genesis. We're going to sign off. I'll see y'all next Sunday. I love y'all. Can't wait to see y'all again. And like, we're going to run these numbers up, everybody. We're going to have everybody in America watching us. Let's go, Mel. Let's go. Let's get it done, dog.
Thank you for having me up, everybody. I appreciate it. I love everybody up on this panel. Uda, Mel, Kelvin, Queen, you Kelvin and Queen, y'all new. DJ Genesis, y'all are new to me, but y'all are growing a space in my heart as well. And I don't say that to everybody. I just want to say I respect how everybody respects everybody's opinions up here, this grown folk conversation. So
exactly. I love all y'all, and we'll rock out next week, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., depending on what part of the country you in. Y'all take care. Let's go.
Make sure y'all supporting these people.
The channels.
Support Mel's channel. I want y'all supporting it. You see how we streaming it. This is what we building. What we building is a system of support, man. From the panels to the chat, everybody supporting everybody. That's what I do on my channel as well. And this is what we all about, man. Us building with each other is gonna make it all happen. It's gonna bring it all together. And we supporting each other. We're not letting nobody violate our sisters. Our sisters ain't letting nobody violate us. We jumping out the window. We doing all that. So don't mean nothing because ain't nothing fair. So we packing you up. Just know what happened.
Exactly.
Packing you up. Remember look with the Diddy. Remember when Beyonce Nash and Kerry Morgan jumped on his back? Yeah, son. We jumping on your back, homie. Just
and y'all better know it. Y'all better know we don't have to come here and over defend ourselves, Calvin. Guess what? Going forward, when you said it once, you already know what it is. You don't have to keep repeating and all of this. If they don't believe and don't trust, and guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna stay in the chat and they're gonna keep running our numbers up, aren't they? Passionate. Because when you go to talk about Carmelo Anthony, y'all gonna see the beast.
Exactly. That's what we're gonna do. And listen, y'all, I love y'all. I want y'all to understand it's therapy for me, man, because I'm gonna be real with you. The old Calvin, about 5 years ago, I might have crashed out, but I can't because you know what? Growth comes with experience, and then we all must grow. But I'm 50. I just turned 53 years old 2 Saturdays ago, and I'm blessed to make 53 because everybody don't even make 53.
What's that, bro? What day is that?
June 28th.
Okay, cool.
Happy
My birthday
belated.
before that, June 21st. So my birthday.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly, y'all. But listen, let me get on off. I love y'all. Y'all take care. See y'all next week.
Wait. Yes. Before you go.
Yes.
You ain't got to worry because you got crash out kings and queens up here that'll do the work for you,
tell
okay?
What
You must not have watched one of my streams because I go in and go off, okay?
And then
you ain't got to do it. We will.
When I start talking, you know, I go to talking, I go to stumping with these heels. I say they better not let me start showing the heels I got on.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad. You know what? That means I got about 3-4 more sisters that's ready to do it because I got 3 sisters. I have 3 real sisters. And y'all don't want no smoke with them. I mean, they handing out Swisher Sweets. They're not playing.
Okay, so stop having to confirm it. You don't have to confirm no more after the day. That's done. Let them say what they want to say. Our chat gonna get them up out of here.
All right, you know, Queen, I just had to give my stats. You know what I'm saying? Right. I done averaged 35 for 10 seasons straight. I'm good.
and listen, guys, if you guys have any shows that you're thinking of that you probably even want covered in this live, please hit up I am Mel Smith. Hold on, let me bring it up. Please hit him up, and if there's something that you think that should be worthy of covering, please hit him up on his IG, and we'll go over it. We'll source it over, and this is gonna be the legal place where we talk about the things that are happening in our community when it comes to legal cases. I believe that we don't have a space like this where we actually go over the things, and then you get to learn from like a legal professional, and hopefully more legal professionals. We get to really talk about what to do, and what to do. You get pulled over. What's going on? Why did this happen? Why did this happen? So
we're gonna do some of the basic stuff later on, y'all. But I got to get going because I got to go get my workout. Shit, keep myself right.
Gotta get right, brother.
I'm gonna take care of y'all, man. Y'all take care, man. Great stream. See y'all next week.
Next week, brother.
All right. Peace, guys. Peace.